Israeli tanks have penetrated into Rafah. At the same time, the IDF is trying to re-enter certain areas of northern and central Gaza Strip in order to prevent Hamas from being able to re-establish themselves and build up a presence again. According to Arab reports, Israeli tanks penetrated as far as several residential neighborhoods in Rafah on Tuesday, although they did not enter. IDF spokesman Daniel Hagari said that the IDF has recovered signs that there are hostages in Gaza and said that the IDF would do whatever it takes to create the conditions to return them. At the same time, Hagari said that on Tuesday, around 100 terrorists had been killed in operations throughout the Gaza Strip. Tuesday was also the 76th commemoration of Israel's Independence Day. 13 soldiers were wounded in that fighting, and unfortunately, Tuesday also saw the very first casualty in the Rafah operation, which was Sergeant Ira Yair Gispan from Petah Tikva. Meanwhile, the United Nations, specifically UNRWA, claimed that around 450,000 Palestinians have already fled from Rafah to a humanitarian zone right on the coast of the Mediterranean. And that's a significant increase since Israel started calling for the evacuation ahead of the operation on the 6th of May. More evidence that there's a link between Hamas and the UN. Israel released drone footage showing Hamas terrorists operating freely and even shooting at Palestinian civilians inside the central logistics compound of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA, which is located there in Rafah. The IDF passed on that evidence to the UN, and several Israeli officials said that this is proof of the UN's corruption because there shouldn't be terrorists there. In fact, one IDF official even questioned, why are there armed terrorists at a UN site? This is a violation of the UN's own policies. And he asked, what would be the reaction in the world if Israel targeted those Hamas terrorists, which are a legitimate military target? Israel Foreign Minister Israel Katz once again called on Philippe Lazzarini, the head of UNRWA, to resign. And he said, no lie from Antonio Guterres and Lazzarini will hide the truth. UNRWA is an arm of the terrorist organization Hamas. He made these comments on X, formerly Twitter. Turkey also continues to support Hamas. Secret documents uncovered by the IDF showed a plan that the terrorist organization had to build a base in Turkey with the goal of setting up military cells and safe houses in several countries, not just Turkey, in order to train recruits for the practical planning of sabotage and assassination. The document mentions possible targets, Mossad officers, commanders in the IDF, and influential Israelis. Now, it's unclear whether Hamas ever enacted or established any kind of cell or operation in Turkey. However, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has been very supportive of Hamas. He's even hosted several Hamas leaders. He's had meetings with Hamas leaders. So, not a big surprise. Also, the U.S. State Department reportedly green lights $1 billion in military aid for Israel for congressional review. Following the recent bipartisan pushback from U.S. Congress members over the decision to withhold the bombs from coming to IDF and coming to Israel over the Rafah operation, the State Department has now reportedly okayed a $1 billion military aid package for Israel, passing it to Congress to review. Now, the package does not contain the bombs that were held up in the previous shipment, but the announcement is clearly aimed at preventing further criticism of the administration's decision to withhold that. The former U.S. ambassador to Israel, David Friedman, accused the Biden administration of siding with Hamas. Posting on Twitter, he said, "Let's be brutally clear. Israel cannot defeat Hamas without entering Rafah, where Hamas maintains 4 fully functioning battalions. Biden is siding with Hamas over Israel. There's no other way to say it." Speaking of Rafah, Israel has yet to enter the densely populated areas. It has, however, reportedly amassed sufficient troops on the border of Gaza to carry out such an operation at a moment's notice. Again, this has been J. Mikey Hancock with an All Israel News Live update. Follow us for all the important news out of Israel.